down there. Oh. I'll go sit out there in a minute.
Hello, Death. The wife's running away from a bee. She's not very brave. Cleaned out the shed today, didn't we? We got a really big, well not big, but solid table. My son-in-law helped me move it. He just about busted himself. Oh, Sevy.
Gotta get it in the house yet.
It is in the house.
That one.
Oh, that's just the buffet.
Yeah, that's still heavy. He said it was just
Yeah, not as heavy as the table though. I can hear him.
Yeah, he's bouncing around the roof.
It's on this. He bounced no more. He was about to sting me, you little bugger.
He's right there.
Yeah, but he's no more. I don't like killing anything. It's about to sting my neck.
Yeah, because he was a bit troppo, wasn't he?
Yep, he's been on some sort of weed for sure. Not just good that we got bees. So it's getting a bit cooler, which is good. It was muggy again today though. Oh boy.
I'm going to bed. You have to do the chat on your own.
Eh?
Do the chat on your own.
Oh, I'm not going to be on long, just for a little while.
You want me to do the TV side?
Yeah. Everything on fire. I'm not sure what you mean. I hope it's not your health, you mean just the turmoil, is that what you're talking about? She's certainly a different world at the moment.
Yeah, that's a big topic. Wish they'd report a little bit of the good stuff, like there's people in our community that are organising to take food to people.
No more so shares. You've lost me a bit, Death, sorry. Oh yeah, no, geez, people, stock market, just hang on to it, mate. Trust me, they'll go up again. No point selling out now. It's going down further, we all know that. Hello, Buttercup. Hello, VMAC. Yeah, it's what would be the best way to describe what's happening everywhere? It's like organised chaos. There are no swords coming out yet, though there's been a few fights. No, there's no point selling. If you look at the benchmark, even gold is not rising. So well, relatively anyway, if this was a normal downturn, gold will be spiking another 15-20%. It's not doing that. Everyone's constricting. Look, I'd listened to Sky News online in the UK, and British Airways and others want $27 billion to bail them out. Now you just got to stop for a second and think, hang on, so your business was so precarious that this has wiped you out. In other words, there is no buffer. Doesn't make any sense to me. The last people I would try and bail out are people with airline companies. They need to suck it like everyone else is sucking it and toughen up, princess. If you've got to ground half your fleet, 3/4 of your fleet, 80% of your fleet, so be it. Everyone else is going through the same modes, but yeah, just straight away, give me 27 billion to bail us out. They've only had the cutbacks in their airlines for 2 weeks. So that tells you a very precarious business. What you do in times of stress like this is you bail the people out, not business. You can help business, but you bail the people out. It's the people that make businesses turn, airlines turn, shops make profits. It's only the people that do that. Our government recognises that. Like I say, tomorrow most people will be getting $750 each put into their bank account. Small businesses are being supported up to $25,000 over the next 3 months to help with the downturn. I have no doubt in my country within 14 days there'll be no schools open. There'll be very, very few normal businesses open because everyone around this planet is heading for a lockdown. We should do it all at the same time, but they're heading for lockdown. To give you an idea, if Buttercup flew in tomorrow into Australia, she would be quarantined for 2 weeks. That's right. Even if she was free, they'd say, no, 2 weeks you will be quarantined by yourself and you will pay for it. The only area I can see that will maintain normality is food, medicine, essential services. In other words, people will be manning the water pumps, electricity and all that. But I see a real major shutdown because we have to do it. Share market is just plunging again. If it was so precarious, you'd suggest that there was problems before this happened. It will go down further, but it will, as soon as the spring of this virus comes into force in a few months and things get better, you just hang on to your stocks because they will increase. Yep, that's where it's heading. There's been about 5 videos from Australian supermarkets, people fighting, just crazy. But the first thing you've got to protect is people. Business will recover. If a business fails and doesn't get any support, well, someone else will pick up the slack. I know that sounds a bit cruel, but it's people that make the world spin, not business. Without us, they are nothing. So at least our government has recognised that. I don't know what all the other bailouts around the world look like, but people are getting money put in their bank. We have 250 cases in Australia at the moment. Yeah, I don't know how old you are, Death, but share markets during this period, I said it a couple of weeks ago, you'll have huge swings up and down, but there will be a downward movement when the lockdowns around the planet conjoin. In other words, when nearly the whole planet, you're looking at the option of nothing happening except bad news, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're 22, you've got plenty of life ahead of you. I would not be surprised if the stock exchanges around the globe are frozen, because it's just crazy. It's just another catalyst for people to panic. Just freeze it right now. No trading. Doesn't stop trade as in itself, because we all know what the stock market really is. It's a gambling ground. So freeze it. Take all the uncertainty out of that area. Don't stop trade, but stop trading on the stock market. And a lot of the big boys won't like that, because guess who makes a lot of money during these times of trouble? You got it. The really rich. They win on the way down and they win on the way up. And when people turn around, the 401k is missing a lot of money. I think you're going to be spot on, VMAC. I think we're going to see a lot of trouble in the US, unfortunately. Italians are admitting they were blasé about this. And you all know Italians kiss and hug all the time. And they didn't do anything, but it only took 2 weeks. And then he realised something was terribly wrong. There are people just shut down in Italy. They're not going anywhere. They've already got mobilised, the government's mobilised food deliveries for elder people here. They'll be dropping off food, like we talked about this last week. That is happening. That's not an if or maybe, because these are vulnerable people, and they will get a knock at the door and say, the box is there, which is a good thing. But the shutdowns are coming. The schools will be closed shortly. Restaurants will be closed. Restaurants aren't being patronised here anyway. I'm sure you would, if you're in touch with your local community, you realise the same thing. No one's going to the restaurant. Hardly anyone's going to the pub. So people are taking it upon themselves to stay away. They don't need anyone to tell them. Well, Italians, even in this country, Buttercup, if you've got, and with Italians, they'll have lunch, but there'll be 20 people at lunch, family and extended family, and they all kiss and they all hug, every one of them. Yeah, I think Canada's a bit like Australia. We got 250 cases in their clusters in 2 main states. That's about 3/4 of the numbers. I think we've got 14 in my state, and most have recovered. One Chinese national who's lived in Australia all his life, he was the first person to die in Australia. He was from Perth, in my state, but he'd just been to China, and he was quite elderly. But you've just, common sense has to rise, practicalities. Oh yeah, I've had something similar. We got one here in Australia. It's got a bit of a coffee taste to it, a bit of chocolate taste to it. Yeah, I like my dark beer anyway, so there's a bit of a chocolate undertone in dark beers. Well, even if you don't believe Buttercup, common sense will rise. You will just do what you have to do, minimise your interaction, and just hunker down. Hello, Scarlett. Yep. I think, Scarlett was saying before you got it, I think it's going to be a problem in the US. Some of the strategies here for the homeless people is that they're being basically moved to protect them, because most of these people go in and out of shops all day. A lot of them aren't happy, but they are being moved, not to camps or anything like that, but to areas. Tents are being put up, food's being delivered, they're being advised, there's sanitisers put there, showers, just to, because these people, like, who live in vans and live in doorways at night time and benches, they are susceptible. To take my child from school for the next few weeks. Good on you, mate. It's not going to be a problem, Tony. You're going to find many Australians are going to do that. Come Monday, I'll be curious to know the school that's not too far from here. How many people have just made their own mind up and saying, no, I'm not taking my kid to school. We have to be brutally honest with ourselves. If the kids missed out on a year's school, it's no big deal. Catch up. The Max says, the soup kitchen help out would started doing takeout. I feel bad. Yep. First thing I've seen is panic buying or the spreading disease. Yes, I mean, that's the irony about panic buying and fighting each other in an aisle. One of them might have the virus and you might get extra toilet paper and baked beans, but you might take something else home. I think what I'm not seeing, and we're getting a lot of it here, a lot of people are talking to each other here in regards to what we can do. I don't know if that's happening in the US. Like what just Tony said, he's going to take his child out of school. It's happening here. That's a secret, VMAC. If you have to go to the supermarket, pick either first thing in the morning or last thing at night. I actually went to the centre management of one of the supermarkets here and asked if we could have a meeting with the managers of the major supermarkets there and other shops and provide bloody masks for the staff. I go in and out of a supermarket, but these people have got to be there all day with thousands of people. And he said, oh, that's a good idea. I said, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's so easy. I already know the education department in my state is prepping each school to provide the information that's required for students to continue their education at home. So, like I said, the lockdown is coming. I would prefer everyone did it at the same time. You won't be able to fly into Australia shortly. They've put this 14-day mandate. If BMAC flew to Australia, she'd have to be at a separate hotel by herself, staying in the room 14 days. Not allowed out, meals will be provided. No one's going to come to Australia under those conditions, which is why they did it. Imagine if you said, I'm going for a 3-week holiday in Australia. I'll be 2 weeks in quarantine when I get there. 1 week I can have a look around, and when I get back to my home, they'll put me in another 2-week quarantine. Well, they do scale it. If you think about it, parents do teach their children. Education, I truly believe we don't need to send kids to school. We can reorganise society. A child needs about 2 hours of education a day, no more. I don't care what anyone says. If you make it interesting and you deliver it within 2 hours, that's enough. I mean, we've got to be honest with ourselves. It's a great babysitting service, dropping your kids off at school. And you want someone else to teach them. You teach your children values anyway. That's where it comes from. Oh, look, we've got to be honest. All we're hearing about confirmed cases is because they're tested. In the US, I think they've maybe tested 1,000 people. Do the sums. There's 250 million people in the US. The numbers are low because there's been very little testing. The true figure would be staggering. But We just got to be smart. We just got to think. You know, someone says, oh, would you like to come out to lunch with the 4 other ladies? We're going to this cafe on the pier. Sounds wonderful. And normally I'd be saying go for it. But now I'd say don't go. It's the butterfly effect. It's the classic butterfly effect. You don't know who someone's walked past, got into a taxi, gone up in a lift, all these butterfly effects, and then they come to lunch with you. Just hunker down. Thousands have been tested in Australia. But like I say, the only reason you're not seeing the true figures is because very few people are being tested. There are people asymptomatic who don't have any signs. They're not even going to think about going to get a test, but they're carrying it. This is, like I said, like the common cold in its delivery. No, there's no cost here either. I listened to Sky News about the National Health Service having very few ventilators to go around. They are majorly concerned, so they're pushing for lockdown sooner than later in the UK. Smart move. If you've ever been to a hospital, my daughter works in a hospital, or one of our daughters, and it's probably a 400 patient hospital, roughly, which is not super big. But they would have enough ventilators for about 8 people. And then you start working out the numbers. 8 people. I saw a little news broadcast from Italy today, Scarlett, where they actually got warehouses. And they put beds in there, a few nurses, but no ventilators. That's right, it is saturation. And South Korea have shown us, China has shown us that you have to be brutally hard in locking things down, and then you can have some success. China's not got rid of the virus, but I think the last count they had 12 people got infected yesterday. So whatever they're doing is working. South Korea is having some success. I think one of the easiest ways to deal with this VMAC is in reverse. If you're at home and you think, oh, I don't feel well at all, you should call a number. Someone should come out for the hospital in appropriate clothing and protection and come and do a test on you. By the next day, they might say, no, you've just got the common flu, or you might have it, and then take action. Do you believe China? What we've got to stop doing, I think, Scarlett, I'm not telling you off, but what we've got to stop doing is thinking that China's out to get us or Russia's out to get us, because the whole planet's under the same attack. Whether they lie or whether they don't, it doesn't matter. We're seeing what's unfolding in our own countries. We're aware how bad it has been elsewhere, and we're aware that it could happen here. But the harder measures and quick lockdowns by certain countries is proving effective. It disrupts everything. Production, schools close, public transport in some parts of different countries are closed. You can only go to a supermarket in some countries at certain times. And you have to, there's one I saw where they've got dots put on the floor now, and they're 6 feet apart. So you're standing in line to buy your food, you have to stand on a dot, 6 feet apart. Some people are taking it really seriously, maybe over the top in some instances, but rather be more cautious than not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, VMAC. It'd be a lot easier to stay home and have a service come to you, and they'd be out all day. doing tests on people, but at least they're then targeting the concern. Yes, there'll be a lot of people just, hypochondriac, I've got a sniffle, I want to test. But I think one of the criteria would be for me to call out to you if I was a doctor that your temperature would have to be at least a certain number. Because if you've got, this is a silly thing, the testing centres, they had about 600 in a line in one of the Perth hospitals. And I'm thinking, all right, 600 in a line, 2 of them have got it maybe. So they're all standing in line with the other 598 people. No, that doesn't make sense. At the moment you would be, Mac. It's the same here. At the moment I'd have no problem. But, yep, same here. But when the numbers grow and the mathematics get folded in, and like I said, my daughter works at a 400-bed hospital with 8 ventilators. They can be filled up in an hour if things got bad. Then what do you do? If you don't call 811, you don't get seen. Yeah, okay. I reckon that's the way to go. There are people that will have a cold or the flu or even pneumonia that will be panicking because they don't know. This doesn't have a colour or code or shape. It's invisible and it's similar to other ailments we suffer from. So it makes people panic. Hello, Leroy. That's my point, Leroy. If you're at home and you feel sick and you've got a temperature of 102, call someone. Don't go en masse to a hospital thinking, oh, I've got a sniffle, and there's 600 people in line with sniffles, and they get tested and they say, no, you just got a cold. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Buttercup, but we can recover finally. Look, I don't know about you guys, but I've gone through life with major dips, bad decisions, had to start again, and then had to start again. It's not pleasant, but you can start again financially. So it is an aspect. I'm not ignoring it, but you need to understand that the most important thing at the moment are people. And everyone's going to suffer. If someone says, like the airline industry in the UK, we need $27 billion bailout, I'm thinking, no, look, just imagine everybody needs a bailout. We've all been through hard times in our lives financially, and if you haven't, I want to know what you did right. But we've got to understand that that is an aspect. It's not the most important aspect. By far, it's not. We've got grandkids and kids. We're concerned about them, and we're limited by what we can advise them. Can't tell them to stop work. Some of the kids won't be going to school. That's a certainty. You did right. Not everyone will recover, but that's normal. That's life. If you're in such a precarious position that this tips you over, you're already in a precarious position. If you can't last 2 or 3 months and your business collapses under you, something wasn't happening right before this happened. There are no easy answers on the financial side of things. It will be terrible. But it's not the priority that I think of. And like I say, common sense. I know this sounds a little bit strange, Buttercup, but I'm glad that this virus is not targeting younger people. It's a peace of mind thing for me. Like I said, we've got 9 grandkids and 1 on the way. So that gives me a bit of peace of mind. I'm over 60, but I would prefer it to be this way than the other way. You're going to have a big boom when this finishes. It could, look, I mean, I'm going to be brutal with you. It could be a year before things kick back into what was. But when it does kick back, there'll be a boom. People will celebrate. People will go on holiday. People will do lots of things, but it will take time. So this is a dip. It's not that, look, I mean, if the worst scenario is that out of, say, 80 million people, 10 million people go bankrupt. Okay, you can survive bankruptcy. You just start again. I don't think society's going to let people starve, is what I'm saying. And as grim as may things be, there's plenty of people that will chip in for those that have nothing. That is our nature. So again, I know people are concerned about the financial situation, and it's going to get worse. It's not the main priority. It's not that important. I mean, the big picture is health, people, lives. I think there's so much constriction of spending, and I can only give you my example in this country. Restaurants are closed anyway. Most restaurants are not opening. Some are staying open Thursday and Friday, traditionally the bigger nights, but people aren't going out. And if you run a restaurant or run any business where you're only getting 10% of your trade than normal, there's no point staying open. And you don't need that much food, got to be honest. We've got enough food for well over a month without going anywhere. Yeah, if we didn't go to the shop, we'd run out of milk and bread, but I can make bread. I haven't got a cow though, so my coffee will be dark. If you don't get some of the things you normally get, okay. I mean, in Canada, you got the wife of the Prime Minister who has fallen ill to this. I haven't heard anything about her. She seems to be doing okay, I think. But you have to ask yourself, you know, that's the top echelon. They can have the best protection, and she fell sick. Tom Hanks is in Australia. He fell sick. There are no immunities for people not getting this. And because it's invisible, unless you could trace it to an exact time and moment, most people now, when it's community transmitted, won't know. You could hop on a bus, grab the handrail. Someone's just got off the bus who was holding that handrail. And then you wipe your face. Got an itch. That simple. But older people are vulnerable. So I want you to all take care. Because most of you, like me, are not spring chickens. Except VMAX, she's a 27-year-old model. Working out of British Columbia. Doing photo shoots and stuff. But the rest of us are old. So we've got to take care where we can. Even if you just minimise. Don't stop going out if that's what you want to do, but just minimise. Like VMAX said, go early to the shop or late to the shop. And learn to make bread. It's not that hard. Anyway, I'm not here to make it doom and gloom. That's not my point. I'm just saying g'day to you guys. You're all aware of what's happening, and I'm sure you are taking steps to protect yours and your loved ones. That's what we do. That big box there is a buffet, which was out of that shed, which that shed's being removed. full big dining table inside tonight. And my son-in-law gave me a hand. And he just about went bright red in the face. It's heavy. Yeah, it's a bit heavy. Yeah, it's quite a phenomenon, VMAC. I was looking at some of the statistics, not just the visual, but the actual count in the air. China is nearly breathable again. Which has to be a good thing. But just be careful, just be smart. And if you end up being at home a bit more than you used to, that's not a bad thing. But anyway, I'm going to go and tootle off to bed. I'll just come out for a quick smoke, and I've been on here half an hour now. That was the quickie. I hope you all have a great day. Again, reiterating, be careful. Just be smart. Let common sense rule your life for a little while. The big lockdown is coming sooner than we think, but we'll be fine if you just take the right precautions. And VMAC, she'll just eat carrots. She'll get through this. You might look a bit orange next time we see her, but she'll be fine. So from me, I want to wish you a good night. Because I'm tired. I've been working all day. I'm an old man. All right, people. Have a good one. See you next time.